Welcome to the shit show.
Tom, it is All In weekend coming up. We just finished watching AEW Collision. AEW Dynamite was last night, and as I mentioned here, All In is this weekend, and it looks like they're going big, right? Because they're in Texas, right? Everything's bigger in Texas, as they say.
Nope, just the racism.
Just the racism. And, so we're leaning into that. We're going to talk about that tonight. We invite you to talk along with us, have a little talk along with us here live in the YouTube chat, right? If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're listening to this back on a podcast later, you missed out on the live stream, you can follow us along. AllEliteWrapup.com has all the links you need. You subscribe there. It's completely free. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can play along, and you can play along right now as we talk about All In, and we talk about some predictions that we're going to make, and then we all get to point and laugh at Tom because he doesn't make predictions very well, and he lost the last time.
I lost the last one out of charity because there's a lot
out
of
of
things.
charity, did you?
Yeah, because look, when I say, "Hey Tim, want to be my friend? Hang out," you go, "Can't do it." Can't do it, pal. So then I was like, well, how's the one way I can see my friend? I was like, oh, I'll lose the bet so that he has to return the shirt that he's had for 7 months.
This is due to my neglect.
Yes. Yes. I told you, charity. I told you it was charity. So yeah, I'm wearing this fucking godforsaken, look at this goddamn thing. Look at that little, no, it's a huckster. Look at that little, yuck. You know what's missing in this shirt, though? I was looking at it today because I knew I had to wear it. He should be wearing gloves. You know how he wears gloves now all the time?
Yeah.
I was watching a compilation of the funniest moments from AEW, and Jeff Jarrett did an episode of AEW, and just wearing normal clothes, but then was wearing black gloves. And I was just like,
nobody wants
why?
that.
No.
Yeah, nobody wants that. You know what you tell him? If he walks in, he's wearing gloves, you say,
Piss off then.
Yes, which we might hear at the end of the episode. But Tim, I'm excited. Are you excited for All In?
I am excited. I'm also excited to watch along and see you lose another picks game and see you have to wear that shirt again next week. And that reminds me, you guys should tune in next week and watch Tom wearing that shirt again. And then you should tune in the week after that, because then we'll be celebrating the 12-year anniversary of whatever this is.
Whatever it is, it is it. That's the tagline. Yep, it is it.
It is it. It is it. That is what we are. And so listen, we want you to chime along with us. We're going to go through the card that we're privy to right now. And I guess we're not going to see any updates on this. And correct me if I'm wrong, if I missed anything on Collision, but I got the 0 hour added. But I'm looking at AllEliteWrestling.com's website right now. They've got the 8 matches posted here, but I think they announced a 0 hour edition.
Yeah, FTR and Outrunners.
Yep. And so if there's anything else, then, you know what I mean? Hey, if you don't bring it to my attention here, Tom, or somebody in the chat, then that's all we're going to pick on, right? We've got 9 to pick on here, and we're going to talk about those. And then as we kind of hit each one, we're going to filter in discussions about the storylines of Dynamite and Collision, right?
Yeah.
That happened this
week.
Yeah.
I'll pull up the Wikipedia just in case to see if anything's
fact
been
check
added.
me here. What are you gonna?
No, but I'm saying if anything's added
I tried to check like the Reddit.
I don't give
Kurt
a shit
Jangle
what
is
you
in the
say.
chat here.
Yeah.
He said something. Now it says message redacted. So I'm gonna say I think it's probably a slur. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Kurt Jangle's back. He says Yosh. Is that what it says?
Sure.
Yep, that is it. Old.
That is what it is.
Hey, Kurt Jangle, stay in the chat. Talk to us. Yeah.
Speaking of reading, I finished a great book. I've been talking about it. I finally finished it because time got away from me in a lot of different areas. But I finished Dogland. I would definitely recommend checking that out. I would say you may want to read it by yourself, because if you read it in like a bookstore or like at a coffee shop, if you have a heart, they're going to look at you funny because you're probably going to cry a lot. Now, not bad cry. It's not bad cry. It's not like, oh my God, I learned of the, now there are some dark things, but like I learned of the suffering of dogs in Texas, right? No, it's not like that, but good cry. And yeah, it's called Dogland, but that's the book I just finished. The next book I'm starting is Way of the
Yeah.
Blade AEW edition. I would recommend anyone checking this out. Its foreword is written by the owner and I guess founder, Tony Khan. It's written by Phil Schneider, who, if you know Phil Schneider at all, wrote a ton of the hardcore matches in the history of pro wrestling.
Tom.
Definitely great.
Tom, we have a great track record of interviewing authors on this show.
Oh,
We should
yeah.
see.
Now,
What do we've had some good author interviews, but we've had some.
Yes.
We had
We've had that
We had
one.
bad
That guy fucking sucked. God. Thank God he had a voice for print and a personality for fucking not living. He was sucked. Right.
Okay.
Just the dog shit.
Common phrases from Tom. You know, all these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, Dogland is written by Tommy Tomlinson, if you are looking for that book. Tommy Tomlinson. The book is called Dogland. But yeah, next up is
Two
going
Tom
to be
Tommy there.
Yeah. It's going to be Way of the Blade. And then after that, while we were just doing a quick little book session here,
Yeah.
I'm getting back into my the 6-pack of WrestleMania. What this guy did is he found 6 figures from the first ever WrestleMania, and he said, "What are they up to?" And this was written a couple years ago. And so he found Iron Sheik in Chapter 1. Chapter 2, he found Tony Atlas. So you can tell this book pretty wild already. And he gets unfiltered. He uses the real name. He doesn't call him Tony Atlas. Like, he says what their real name is. Like, he is a wrestling fan in the sense of, that was fun when I was a kid, not like I read the dirt sheets. So it's a different
he
perspective.
Gives no shit about kayfabe here, right?
Right. He also wrote a book called The Wax Pack, where he got a pack of baseball cards, and he's just like, what are these guys up to? And just based off of that pack of baseball cards, drove around the country and was like, hey, 1992 baseball player, what are you doing?
Kurt Jangle says, I've heard face for radio, but voice for print is a new one. Oh, yeah. Tom introduced me to voice for print years ago.
Yeah, you got
Speaking
a
of
voice
years
for radio.
ago, 12 years ago on the 24th here, we'll be celebrating 12 years of this, man. I wonder when. Was it? It probably was within that week that you dropped voice for print on me. Probably in there.
It's been one that I've used a lot. Yeah. Because everyone always says, because especially as you know, and if anyone doesn't know, we both have our degrees in communication. So the whole thing is, oh, you got a voice for radio, and I was like, well, you got a face for print, you bitch. You know, so like it's a quick one, and I've been using that one since like freshman year of college.
It's so great.
So, yeah.
It throws people for a loop. I like that, man. Yeah. What's new in Tom's world then before we get into all this? Because again, you know, if you're new to the show's about us. It's about us talking about wrestling, right?
Yeah. I'm going to work in something tonight. I'll let you guys peek behind the curtain just for a quick second. On the front end, I'm going to work in the phrase, suck on a cactus, you toilet baby. I think that's funny. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I want to say at least 3 more times tonight, organically, not like, hey, got to get 2 more in. I want to say it organically. I think that's a funny phrase. Suck on a cactus.
This is almost
toilet
like
baby.
the meow game from the Super Troopers. Like, you got to get it in 10 times or else you lose.
Yeah.
Or else you're the forever owner of the Jeff Jarrett shirt.
No.
Yes.
I did get some new action figures, by the way. I got the Blood and Guts series of Brody King and Darby Allin, and I got a Diamond Dallas Page. They're not currently by me, but that was the other cool thing. What have you been up to? You're going to do adult shit this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just that kind of stuff, right? We're just sticking to adult stuff. We're preparing for my son to go to college, and so we're doing that. Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
an
he's gonna be living here in a
interesting
couple weeks.
friend. You're an interesting friend because most of my friends who do have kids
I get that a lot. You're an interesting friend.
You are an interesting friend because most of my friends that have kids are
Younger kids.
starting middle school. Yeah. And so since you're 60, it's
My
like so
youngest
interesting.
is, yeah. 60.
Yeah. Since you're, elderly, it's so interesting to see that perspective.
Yeah, since I'm a boomer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The reason you said boom, and my brain's going everywhere because it's late. What'd you do for 4th of July? Did you do any boom, boom, booms?
No. I think we covered this last week. No. So my spot, my house, not to brag, I sit up on a hill and I could literally see 70 things going off across town, right? And so we usually do that. And so I literally did that. At one point it got dark and I started hearing a bunch of noise and I was like, oh yeah. And I went out there and I was like, oh yeah, those things still go flashbang. And kind of watched for like 5 minutes and went back inside,
I went to a baseball game, and Tim, it's right next to you, so you need to do this. I went to the Kansas City Monarchs baseball game on 4th of July. All of that's fun. We won 13-4. It's an independent baseball league. The pitching stinks. The hitting's good, so you get a lot of scoring. But the best part about it was we paid for a little bit of the premium seat, right? Wasn't that expensive, but it was, a little premium. And so you get unlimited buffet, unlimited beer, unlimited soda, all that stuff, right? But then here's the benefit of it. In the 5th inning, the mascot of the Kansas City Monarchs, his name is Monty, he walks around and he handed our aisle. So there's 2 levels, right? There's the GA seating and then there's where we were, right? He goes around our section of the ballpark and hands us Twinkies. I was like,
Nice.
oh, great. Twinkies.
Free Twinkie. On a hot summer day.
Oh, no, the boxes, first off.
Yeah, right.
And then someone followed him. Someone followed him and said, hold on to these. And we're like, what? They're like, after the 5th inning, you can throw them on the people below you. And I was like,
say no more. You going to keep yours?
No, there's some I'll send you. There's one photo.
You're like, Tom, you're supposed to take them out of the box first. And you're like, fuck you.
Oh, yeah. Here, I'll try to, because I don't want to show my wife without her permission, but I do want to show me because I love me. Where is it? Oh,
Tom
God.
loves Tom.
If there's one thing I love, it's me. Okay. So, yeah, don't want to look at me there. I'm fucking chucking that.
That is one of the best action. And the flick of the wrist, too, Tom.
Yeah.
Harking back to your old baseball days. There,
yeah. Oh, I was fucking nailing people. I hit this little toddler girl right in the side of the ear. Oh, it was so great. Yes. So that's what we need to do next time. Next time we go, let's go to a baseball game.
I love sometimes when we start this show, before cameras start rolling, it's dead energy. And I'm like, oh, this ain't going to go well tonight. Like, we're not in a mood. And then you break out. So anyway, I was throwing Twinkies at this toddler girl. and then we're off. So now we're ready. We're primed to talk about AEW All In. I encourage all of you in the chat right now, all 5 million of you there, to chime in with your choices and just, make fun of Tom wearing a Jeff Jarrett shirt while you're there. That's part of the fun here, right? And we're going to talk about it. Tom, are you ready? Are you excited? First of all over, right? This is we all agree this is the WrestleMania, if you will, for AEW. So how are you feeling with, the last year, basically? Because I feel like they're trying to treat it almost like that. Like, this feels like a season ender, right? So how do you feel where we're at, how we're going, what all this means that All In encompasses here?
There was some bumpy roads so I'll tell you kind of the gist. Well, first off, about the pay-per-view, before we get into like the specifics, I love that it's a 2:00 in the afternoon Saturday pay-per-view. That's fucking more of that. Anyhow, but for the last year, I would say, of my 4 favorite wrestlers, my Mount Rushmore for AEW, it's Hangman, Tony Storm, MJF, Eddie Kingston. Eddie's been out all year, so that's been a kick in the pants, right? That's not fun. MJF has kind of this weird, he recovered from the injury, but then he started an Adam Cole feud again that we didn't really care about. The Ospreay stuff was fun, right? And then the Jeff Jarrett, for whatever fucking reason, kind
We
of
loved Jeff Jarrett, didn't we? Like
no,
for about,
yeah,
for about a month and a half there, it was Jeff Jarrett's final ride. And we were like, no, please. I thought we already had his fun. Can we not?
yeah, yeah. And then with Tony Storm, she
How's
had
that
the
shirt?
amazing.
It
I
itches,
hate
doesn't
it. Ugh. It feels like it smokes cigarettes.
Do you also get the bruises after you, like, when you take it off? You're like, how in the fuck? What?
Yeah, I have to wear another shirt to bed just so that I don't expose the bruises to other people in my family.
My dogs growl at the closet when it's hanging in there.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Oh, I fucking put this at the very top so none of my dogs can even get it. And then with Tony Storm, I love the ending of the Mariah May, but then post Mariah May and not her fault at all, it's kind of felt a little kind of in the wind. And now we got this Mercedes Moné thing, which we'll give our picks, but not the most excited about Mercedes Moné. So I would say I'd give the last year to year, a solid B. Trending upwards. Trending upwards.
I
The
agree with you.
Hangman.
I think yes.
The Hangman as the main character again is going up.
Yeah, I definitely feel, and this may be recency bias, but I do feel like for the last several months, I have felt like we've been getting A material.
Yes.
And I don't feel like we got anything less than C material in the worst times of this year.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, I think you're right, but I might be hedging more towards the B+, right? Kind of mentality. And I think if we're grading on a curve of other stuff that I see of snippets of other companies, I'm going to give this one the A. You know what I mean? So I feel good about
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. In comparison to the fuck the feds, both the federal government and the Federation, I'd give this an A+ all timer. But when you grade it against itself, it's kind of like how, quick side note, we'll get back on track. We're going to have fun tonight. It's kind of like how Patrick Mahomes is always graded against the best version of himself, but then all these fucking schmucks are always graded against the worst version of Patrick Mahomes. And so somehow they've convinced themselves that Josh Allen is a better quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. He might be a better person.
Yeah.
We don't know about that.
Or these kind of things. They'll be like, well, he's more of a pure runner. So when you account for that, then they're pretty even. It's like, you're a dumbass. I don't want to hear it. No.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's like that, right? If you judge AEW against,
because he is the greatest.
Yes, I mean easily. Because again, wins is not a quarterback stat; it's a team stat. But when you do account for he is the most important person on the offense, winning does matter to a certain extent. Yeah, and this is another thing. Fuck your.
Now he got robbed of a three-peat, so now he's got to go win 4 in a row just to piss everybody off.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, too. Tom Brady won 7, so that means he's the greatest. No one fucking said that in the 90s when Jordan won 6 and Bill Russell still had 11. So shut the fuck up with this championships matter. The fuck it does. You win 2, you're in for the GOAT. And he's won 3. So suck a cactus, you toilet babies. There's one.
Ding! Yes. All right. So we're going to get into this. We're going to make predictions. At the end, I'm going to pick a tiebreaker one just in case we tied. And then that'll kind of give us a yay or nay on who's going to wear this shirt next week. So tune in. No, you can't. Wait. I know you're excited. The 0 hour, as they said, FTR, the oldest men alive, are taking on the Outrunners, the youngest men alive.
Yeah. I also got FTR action figures updated. Man, they look fucking good. They look really realistic. Like, look at this fucking cop. Hold on. You make your pick, and then I'm going to grab them.
Man, this one is a tough one for me because I feel like we're hammering something with FTR, right? We have a storyline and plan for them. We're like, they're going to get involved in more stuff. They're trying to make them a big thing. It feels weird to have them lose to what we would all grade, I think, currently a mid-card tag team, right? Mm-hmm. But the Outrunners kind of owed one also here, right? And it's the 0 hour, and that could lead into angry FTR getting their nose in some business later in the show, right? Because they're a little pissed off. But man, it's just hard for me to feel like the youngest men alive are coming away with this. But it is the 0 hour. I'm gonna go Outrunners. I'm going Outrunners.
Okay, I'm going FTR. Now here's bonus pick, and this has nothing to do, just a bonus pick. Because it's the biggest show, and you want people to buy a pay-per-view, you kind of give them an early surprise first to say, like, this is the tone setter. Does Adam Copeland make an appearance? Maybe post-match and say, I'm coming for you guys, and they, like, run off. You know what I mean? One of those things. You think that may happen?
Or maybe that's how the Outrunners get a sneaky victory.
Yeah. By the way, so this is Cash, right? Look at that. Look at that fucking jacket.
That's good. Uh-huh.
Yeah, right? But then look at this. Dax is the money one. Because look at that cop. Look at that fucking cop.
God damn, he looks like he's about to ask for my license and registration right now.
Look at that chest hair. Look at that, huh?
He just told me to keep my hands where he can see him.
He just said, Mother Wayne, you better look for a new daddy.
Actually, he asked me where I was headed this night. You know what I mean? Where are you heading this evening?
Yeah.
Hey, what are you guys getting into tonight?
Don't worry about it. Suck a cactus there, toilet baby. Yeah. There's two. But yeah, no, I'm going FTR. I think this is going to, like I said, as we've kind of both said.
You're probably wrong.
Here,
I came out the gate. Fuck.
Yeah, that's fine.
Fuck.
But I do think, as you mentioned, this is kind of the WrestleMania, the end chapter for a year. So then we got to start the next year. FTR gets the victory. Oh, God. Adam Copeland is on his way back. Because another thing with Adam Copeland, he's not young. You know what I mean? You can't just have him sit there forever. You know?
Adam, old man. Yeah, Adam, old man. Old man Copeland. Yeah, so my thought process here, let me get back on camera, is that because it's WrestleMania, as we say, right? It's all in. It's the biggest show of the year. It's the 0 hour. We want everybody, oh my God, happy, clap, cheer. So my thought is Outrunners win. But we could accomplish that with FTR murdering the Outrunners, and Adam Copeland comes out, and everybody's fucking loving it, right? Oh, and we even get, you know what I mean? Everybody loves it. So you might be right.
Because if you also remember when Saraya, I think it was won a tag match on the 0 hour, and Jamie Hayter made her return, we could do something like that, but again with Copeland. And also, I think FTR wins because let's go to the second 0 hour match. Do you have that one up?
Oh, no. What is that one?
This one is, according to Wikipedia, Big Boom AJ and the conglomeration of Hologram.
They did announce that one, right?
Hologram, Kyle O'Reilly, and Tomohiro Ishii versus the Don Callis family, which is Hechicero, Lance Archer, Rocky Romero, and Trent Beretta. This is where we get the fun.
The conglomeration win this.
Yeah. Hologram will probably get the victory.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That might have made me change my FTR Outrunners pick. So there we go. But
too late.
Yeah, I think you say conglomeration wins that too. Yeah, we both say that. Yeah. Right?
Hologram gets the victory because Hologram doesn't lose.
Albeit, true. And what, man, we talk about Paragon being a trio of nerds. Kyle O'Reilly, dog. His whole spiel in that segment on Collision, like, I don't.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Like,
more of a
Mark
geek
Briscoe.
Nerd, I guess, right?
Yeah, because Mark Briscoe does nerdy stuff. But Mark Briscoe believes it. Kyle O'Reilly is doing it as and maybe he is a legit, that is his personality. But to me, it comes across as, isn't this nerdy and cool? And it's like, you're a cosplayer. You're a cosplayer of a nerd. I don't even think you're a good nerd. Yeah,
at least nerds have integrity.
Yeah. It doesn't seem authentic when he does his like, hoo. It's like, no, stop being a try-hard. He's a try-hard. So yeah, I don't like him. But yeah, big boom, 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 cookies.
Yeah, everybody's
cookies.
going to boom. Mm-hmm.
Which tonight, I mean, that got a big pop when he was talking on
Yeah.
that backstage promo.
Trent Beretta, though, did a great spot in here. Like, I know you talked about how he doesn't play a good bad guy, or at least he plays a much better good guy than he does bad guy. But
Yeah.
this was solid here, right? Where he was like, no, he's like, you're not a professional wrestler. You're a guy who eats cookies on the internet, okay? Like,
Yeah.
knock this shit off. What are you going to hang out? And then, like, when they were doing the whole thing, when he's like, ba, 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 he's like, no, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Right? Like, just stop. Like, talking over him the whole time. Yeah, and then when Kyle O'Reilly did his nerd thing where he's like, this stupid going to hang out with these fucking kids? Like, you nerd. God.
Yeah. Well, that's the Trent Beretta. If you're going to, the Trent Beretta I don't like is the watch this, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick his. No, you're not. Stop that. Be an asshole. Be a, a shit talking, wise ass, but don't be the, so yeah. Anyhow, big boom. Got a big, pop for the promo tonight. And then, we got the match. It's interesting, honestly. I don't know when you're going to talk about it, but having hologram in this match was interesting because I thought we might have him in the men's casino gauntlet match.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun one for us to pick because we don't necessarily know all the combatants in two of these matches, right? So,
right, yeah.
I think we got an idea from Collision who's in the women's match, right? At least, the majority of the names, right? I think you kind of gather, right, who's in there. But, first up here on the list here.
Okay.
In the regular show, in the 1 hour, is the TNT Championship. Adam Cole defends against Kyle Fletcher. And I just feel like Kyle Fletcher's winning this thing, right? It's time.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to our big match picks. And so because of my big match picks thoughts, there has to be a counter to that because it can't just be all chocolate ice cream. So I got Kyle Fletcher. And as we mentioned, man, Adam Cole is cold. Like, I get that he has the boom, but man, he ain't, they're not going anywhere. Like, it's uninspired. And so
it is.
I think bonus pick, again, not part of my actual pick. I think we see Daniel Garcia get involved somehow. I think we do Adam Cole, you prick. You got me too close and then you took my title. I'm taking it away from you and I don't give a shit that guy has it. I can beat him,
That's cool because then we can get an uninspiring Daniel Garcia, Adam Cole feud for just cuz.
Well, on Collision because you got to fill that time.
Yeah, on Collision. Yep.
Yeah. They need to spice up. That's one other thing I would say about AEW, their next year of wrestling.
Yep.
We need to spice up Collision. I need FTR off there every week, and I need some Young Bucks on there.
Yeah, hear me out. Like, Collision, I know it is the more wrestling heavy show because what it essentially is like they're taping some of the what would be dark matches or whatever, right? And that kind of thing. And it's more of a NXT kind of grounds, right? Where we're going to give some of the people who don't get as much screen time some chance to get out there and do their thing. Yeah, right. And the Queen Aminadas and the things like these people that we're trying to groom, right? In a non-Trump Epstein way, right?
Yep.
Wrestling groom them. Well, fuck. God damn it, man. But when you change it to Thursday nights, and especially it's like it serves as the go-home show, which I mean it kind of always does, but like it's the night after Dynamite where you gave us all the school stuff, and then you didn't so much in the Collision, right? You kind of stuck to your normal format, even though you had to move nights. Nah, man, I would have pulled out stops. Now, that's to say the end match was really good, right? I felt like they did a good hype job there. And the segment that we'll talk about later with Hangman, Swerve, all that. God. Yeah. So they did hit some home runs on here, but I still feel like they could put a little more, even though you are using some of what we're calling the the students of the game in there. Give me something to track and follow and make it feel like a storyline here, Not that it's completely void of that, but
no. But and maybe I'm wrong here because a couple people that are injured that can add some spice to the show, like I mentioned, my guy Eddie Kingston, and then if you add the Gangbang Gang coming back, right? You got Jay White, you get Juice Robinson, you get the Ass Boys, you get all them. Maybe then we get some more spice.
Do you see the tweet from Billy Gunn when his kids posted a photo of them and Juice Robinson, and they were all in the ring doing this thing, and his response was, "You guys still work for AEW?"
That's great.
All right. The World Tag Team Championship is on the line in a three-way, which sounds hot. It is the Hurt Syndicate against the Patriarchy and Jet Speed, who I will say, they made Jet Speed look a little more tough and a little less cartoonish over the last couple of days. But, man, I still don't feel... Jet Speed is not walking away with these titles, right? We can knock that. You think so, huh? Man, I feel like looking at man, Hurt Syndicate's winning this. I'm writing down Hurt Syndicate.
Okay, so let's talk about Dynamite for a little bit. So we'll get to the MJF and Mark Briscoe portion when it's appropriate. But the second half of that segment was the Hurt Syndicate coming out to then beat up Mark Briscoe, who was then cut off by Jet Speed. And then the Patriarchy came out. Now, the interesting thing of why I kind of raised my unibrow is because maybe when they attack, I do, I try. And hey, chemo sometimes thins it out.
It takes care of it.
Hey, well, the benefits. That's why you're on
silver
chemo.
linings is what we call
Yep,
that. Yeah.
exactly. But maybe there's a reason why we attacked Bobby Lashley's knee this entire time, because then, well, hey, they didn't
he's
lose
compromised.
100%, yeah, and all of that. Maybe.
So I could see a Jet Speed winning in a melee and you know what I mean, where the two bad teams are fighting each other, right?
Well, a Kevin Knight pinning Nick Wayne seems like it would set off the Patriarchy storyline and then get the Hurt Syndicate, because the other portion of this is, like you said, this is the end, right? The year to year. This is the end. So the next year, you think that you're going to do something with MJF and the Hurt Syndicate, right? We're going to do a Bobby Lashley and MJF butt heads kind of thing. Well, they can't do it if one of them's a tag champion. You know what I mean? It's a little clunky.
Yeah.
I'm going Jet Speed.
Are you?
Yeah.
All right, that made up for my bad.
Kevin Knight pins Nick Wayne.
And Jet Speed is your tag. I mean, look, you're going to sell some merch.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna slap hands with the kids.
Well, and they're not paying Speedball Mike Bailey, peanuts. They reportedly were in a little bit of a bidding war between them and the Fed. But you know what I mean? Like trying to get those young stars. So, because apparently some of those AEW guys are hitting the bricks like a private party. They might be.
Well,
they might be.
I mean,
I
haven't
dead.
felt very partylicious around them. I'll say that. So I've got Hurt Syndicate. You got Jet Speed. Another tag team match here with some interesting stipulations on the line. We have the Young Bucks versus Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay. If Strickland and Ospreay win, they become EVPs. They've said they would turn it over to Tony Khan. If the Young Bucks win, Swerve and Will Ospreay cannot challenge for the world title for a whole year.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go first on this. I got to hear this.
I don't feel.
This is a perplexing one. This is a fun.
This is the hardest one.
Yeah.
Honest to God, if you were to how sure are you on all of your bets? This would be the least confident I would be on the entire night.
Yeah, like if you had to pick your tiebreaker, this ain't it.
Yeah.
I agree.
I feel
I could write either story, right? Either story is a great story to tell, right? But
yes, but I feel that not that it's lazy, but hey, if we're in a pickle, what story can we tell that's easy to tell that everyone can boo us kind of thing is the EVPs, right? The Young Bucks using their power, fuck off, fuck off.
Why would you write that away, right?
And then on top of that, let's not forget, we got some other championships. Swerve could go after the new unified champion, which is Kenny Omega or Okada. So could Ospreay. We've got the TNT Championship with, which we think is Kyle Fletcher. Ospreay could go after that one, reignite that feud. So it's not as if they can't challenge for any title. It's just the World Championship.
World title. I feel
and
like
it's a year.
More compelling storyline. Yeah, and
it's a year. It's not like the end of the world.
But I feel like, yes, but I'm also trying to remember that the real world does exist. And you're telling me you sat down with Swerve and Will and were like, listen, guys, I love you. Yeah, I'm going to build this brand around you guys. But hear me out. 2026 is not going to be your year or whatever it is, right? Like, I don't... hard pill to swallow.
Yeah, but that TNT Championship is cold. We were just talking about that. Adam Cole ain't doing anything with that title.
The horribly named Unified Championship is probably going to be cold. I mean, if I'm being honest, even coming out of this.
But like, I don't think Kyle Fletcher or Adam Cole is going to be the one on the TV shows, right? Swerve might be, which he has on previous ones. So if you say, what channel are you on? Oh, well, one of them is TNT. Yeah. So I'm going, and here's another thought I had, peeking behind the curtain. I think they learned from the Cody mistake. When Cody challenged Chris Jericho for the championship, and he said, if I lose, I'll never challenge for the championship again. Well, fuck, he did. And then we're just in limbo. So if you just say 1 year, but then we can get out of it in due time. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and another thing to remember, too, is this is pro wrestling. We can write a way out of this. Anything under the sun here is possible. If you can think it, we can do it. It's just how well will it be perceived, right? But, and yeah, what's weighing heavy on me, too, is this is making the Young Bucks character right now. What are they if they're not this? Now, they're talented guys, right?
But they'll be down in the dumps.
That's the only storyline that would come out of this. And I don't know that, like, man, isn't that just the Hangman story redone or something? Like,
right.
Now, the flip of everything, they're down and out. They have no more power, right? Think of the old guys from Trading Places, right? Like, right? They're down and out now, right? Looking up at Hangman with the title, or not to spoiler alert, right? But, so, I mean, that could play into things, right? And then there's Swerve and Will Ospreay being like, nah, this power is, right? Like watching their livelihoods.
Yeah, that's the other. I'm
like
going
that,
PvPs.
Young Buck 2 was like, how are we going to financially recover from this?
Yeah, I like that. Let's speak to that real quick. So on Dynamite, it ended with the Death Riders and the EVPs working together to essentially kill Ospreay and Hangman. And they were distracted because Swerve pulled a Stone Cold Steve Austin Backlash 2000 and said,
Swerve knows how to operate a backhoe, isn't it?
Well, and I also noticed, they have live when they're live. And I didn't see when they went to that shot if they were live.
No, they had some creative cuts, right? I noticed. Yeah, it was fun. Because, I can tell you right now, even if you show up to the arena that day and somebody's like, here's how you operate the backhoe, like, it's you
except
to
for
do
Austin.
what that person was doing, like, you need to know what you're doing. No, but Austin does that in his free time on his ranch. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why he's the greatest of all time, is he did all the stuff your favorite fucking wrestler did, except for he also did construction live on TV.
Now, Brock Lesnar did know how to ride that tractor. I'll give you that when he did that thing.
Yeah. Remember when he threw that fucking door off that car? When he ripped off that door and he fucking...
Yes.
Anyhow, we're getting decided off track. Sidetrack.
Theo P in the chat here says, if you folks notice, Nick Jackson from the Middle-Aged Bucks is balding. Oh, yeah. He's come back. He did some work when they were gone because it's improved. It's LeBron'd itself a little bit, but he's still...
Yeah, went to Turkey. Yeah, he went to Turkey. I'm going EVPs, though. I'm going EVPs. I don't think you throw that away. Again, the fans get the EVP. Fuck off. That's corny. That's some 1992 WWE shit.
I agree with you. I don't think I would have booked this because I don't want to do this to Swerve and Will Ospreay. But
I think they can do other stuff.
they could do other stuff, and the Young Bucks like this is all this is, and it makes it easy for them to be gone frequently and often, which they are, and they just kind of have to be because they're old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they actually are, right? And so like they're going to be involved in things and press releases where they are EVPs of the company, right? And so like
and they love and AEW more so than probably most wrestling companies are so much of a no, they're actually not brothers, so we're not going to call them that. You know what I mean? Like they try to stay true to what is actually real. Even though again, Luchasaurus isn't a fucking dinosaur, but I digress. So yeah, with all that being said,
yeah, because here's what I could. I think you could have said that like Tony's like, look, guys, I got this idea, and hear me out. I know that sounds rough, but like we've got 8 months of Hangman booked, right? Like, like. Again, I'm spoiling a little bit on my pick for the world title match, right? But even if it doesn't happen here, right, we think he's going to get a world title here. Or something like that. Or it's we've got John Moxley booked for the next 6. So then after that, it's only 4 months. That coincides with your already booked vacation with Ospreay or something like that, right? Like there could be any number of things like that. And I agree with you. I think they're nothing if they're not the EVPs right now. And they're to do something other, like you're saying, a down and out, woe is me, I don't think they've got enough juice left for us to care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and it's either we laugh at them or again, we're like, we saw this before with Hangman. So, yeah.
All right, man. This is where we start getting interesting. The Women's Casino Gauntlet match. Reminder, this is for a guaranteed world title shot. We know Chris Statlander is 1 and we know Megan Bain is 2. Or they're both at the same time, right?
You make the pick because I'm going to grab the figure.
All right, so I've got 3 in mind that I think could win this, and I don't think it's Statlander, and I don't think it's Megan Bain, right? I think they're going to like kind of the towers of power take each other out, right? Focus on each other, and I think they're going to do because I think this is going to serve somebody up to be the first person to lose, right? To whoever wins the women's world title. And so I think I have 2. One is the newbie, right? The Toxic Spider, Tekla, right? Because I feel like they've run through everybody, right? So that's weighing on my mind is like, here's somebody they're clearly behind. They're trying to hype up. I could see a Queen Aminata, but that's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they could go dark and go Julia Hart, especially if Toni Storm were to win, right? The women's world title. Because then you could get this, now I'm in a spooky horror movie, right? And Julia Hart's got this thing weighing over and her little minion, right? Whatever Sky Blue, right, is doing. So I'm torn kind of between those 2 right now. So I'm thinking I'm going with one of those. And I'm going to say that. I'm going to say Julia Hart wins this.
Ooh, that's a bold pick. I like that a lot.
Bold pick, yeah.
I like that a lot. I have no basis on my pick. I'm just going with a gut feeling, and I'm old enough to where I've seen trends to where I'm like, why do I keep hearing this name all of a sudden out of the blue? Even on Tony Khan's media call. That's odd. That hasn't been brought up in previous ones recently. So that must mean something. So I think the person that's winning the Casino Gauntlet match for the women is the DMD, Britt Baker.
So yeah, that's going to be a huge like, the music's going to hit, and then it's DMD, and the crowd's going to go nuts.
And she's versatile. So hypothetically, let's say Mercedes wins. Well, I lost the title, but I got another shot. Ha ha ha. Or I can go heel and fuck you, Toni Storm. You're a bad actor. I remember when you begged to be in this company. I'm an original. I can be a bad, heel. So she's versatile. She can do whatever you need. And why again are we talking about her all of a sudden? Have you noticed that? That's weird. Yeah. It's just like, oh, she's gonna. That seems interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
Collection.
That is
there you go. I'm going DMD.
Nice. Look at that. We've got some good picks here, man. Interested to see though how this gets booked out and who's in it. I like that they. I guess they mentioned it, but they didn't really explain why this is the rule. But they come in at random times. You know what I mean? Like it's not a 90-second
2 minutes
countdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, have you identified somebody? Is it just Tony being like,
Go.
get on now? Yeah. Because if you're the person next, be like, let me get in there so they don't pin that motherfucker. I want a chance. And be like, Tony's been 3 minutes, dog. Come on. And be like,
That would
fine,
be-
go in now.
You know, we were talking about the EVPs. One new wrinkle that they could introduce as far as we've got power and we're going to use it is hey, we've decided the intervals of casino gauntlet matches, and just have them sit in a chair with the microphone and say, next up, and then they go. And then everyone's like, bring out the next one, bring out the next one. Like, no, let them keep going. Like if they were the ones that we knew were in charge, and then they sit like one back to back, right? Go. It's like, what the fuck? 3 people just came out. Like, yeah, we don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
Like,
Look, we got to speed this up. It's taking too long.
Yeah. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I don't hate that.
But yeah, I got the DMD for the women's casino
Well,
gauntlet.
that's interesting. It's interesting. Yeah, you're wrong, but that's fine. The men's casino gauntlet match, also for a guaranteed world title shot. We know Mark Briscoe and we know MJF. And Mystico, apparently, also, right? And so...
Yeah, they keep showing them.
Yeah, they keep showing him. He's there. The MJF Mark Briscoe thing has been interesting here, right? You've always said your dream thing was a modern day Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes with MJF and Eddie Kingston. I feel like we're kind of doing that here with the Mark Briscoe. And he's not bad for that role. I'll say that.
No.
He's a little more goofy than I think you would have written it or intended it, but.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he's a Scottie Pippen of Dusty Rhodes. It's close, but it's not Jordan.
What did you say? He was the Michael Jordan of.
I know. Yeah. So with this one, okay, so I'll talk it out. I don't think it'll be MJF because I think either Briscoe takes them out and they take each other out, so they're eliminated. I also think Mystico has to get his mask back somehow. So you got 2 against 1 with MJF. So MJF is essentially gone, as is the other 2, right? They're going to be all in their little orbit of doing shit.
We have no idea who else is in this, right?
Right. This is where it just came to my mind. Literally just came to my mind. All right. I think we can say it when we get to it, but let's also just say it now because it'll help explain some things. I think we're both going Hangman.
Of course.
Okay.
I think everybody in the world is. I can't imagine the money line being anywhere near Moxley, right? You couldn't.
Well, it feels a lot like when Hangman won the world title against Kenny Omega. Like we all knew it, but we were just waiting for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, to see how you told that story. Yeah.
Right. So, with that being said, who's the kryptonite for Hangman Adam Page? He keeps kicking his ass and he always tells him what the scoreboard is, and that's Jay White, a returning Jay White winning the fucking thing and then saying, I'm your first challenge. It's whatever it is, 5-1 or whatever, right? Because he beat him as a heel when Hangman was heel. He beat him as a babyface. So it's not as if like Jay White can't compete with a certain version of him. He can beat both versions of him. And then, right? Now there's some, well, does Hangman just be a transitional champ and Jay White and his gangbang is back on top? Like we could do that. So I think in the spur of the moment, right now, because you're not getting it right either, it's going to be Jay White.
Yeah. I think just because I don't know who else, right? And I feel like it would be wrong to steal the name that I didn't come up with, right? Then I wouldn't have thought of that you did, right? So I'm not going to be like, me too. But now I'm worried because I think you're right. Because this is the only other person that makes sense knowing, of any other options. I don't know any other options. I can't really think of somebody that would hit harder than MJF. And I think we just might get the early Hangman MJF stuff out of the way quick. And I think that's where we're going to get some Hurt Syndicate stuff. And maybe I'm wrong on my pick earlier, right? And now that's some of the dissension, but you're supposed to help me, right? And they're like, you were supposed to help us too. And you know what I mean? So maybe some of that there. But even if they're both champions, that's where he can be like, no, remember, we're all getting gold now, right? And that's where he can start to kind of do the know your role aspect of this. And they'll be like, bitch, no, what? My role. So I'm going MJF. I wrote MJF down already because of that kind of thought process. Man, the Jay White pick scares me. That's a good pick. Yeah.
I tell you what,
just
though.
the kind of guy who would come back, right, and unannounced and win something like this and be in line for a title shot. It's a character we would all believe would win that and get that.
Yep.
It's a spot he fits well. Yeah.
Now, if I had the pencil, whatever you want to call it, right? If I could do it though, knowing nothing as far as health or availability, all that stuff, motherfucker, shouldn't it be Eddie Kingston at All In, your biggest fucking show, everyone's everyday guy?
Yeah.
But that wouldn't match with
Eddie Kingston and
Hangman.
Page,
That's what I'm saying. No. Yeah, you couldn't. But in a vacuum, by itself, wouldn't that be the spot for Eddie Kingston?
You could if you planned on making him the heel, right? If you made him the heel to Hangman, and he's like, "But you don't get a redemption arc." Fuck that, right? Like
redeem
these nuts. Yeah, exactly. Like, no, you're still the drunk at the bar, right? Like just leaning in and be like, "I know you, partner," right? Like, don't you know what I mean? Leopard doesn't change his stripes, right, or whatever. And be like, "What?" Yeah. Like, you know what I mean, motherfucker.
How wild would it be? They couldn't do this, but you know it would be fun just to throw a wrench into everything. Is if you do the tag match with Swerve and Ospreay versus the Bucks early, and then middle of the show, right, 3 or 4 matches later, middle of the show, you do the Casino Gauntlet, and then Swerve says, "I'm in this bitch," and Swerve wins it and goes, "Yeah, fuck that rule. I got this rule. This says I am challenging."
Yeah, so now what? Yeah, guaranteed shot. Then he's got to go. Yeah, we can have a wrestler's court. I will give a shout out to MJF for working in the dead relative promo in a way that I haven't seen before, right? Like, he was like, "No, your brother was amazing. There's a special place, and he was great. He was go down as a Hall of Fame as one of the greatest of all time." You, like,
right?
It should have been you that died. Yeah,
he touched on it one time. Yeah, he touched on it one time with the Darby Allin when his uncle got into the wreck, and he's like, "Well, it should have been your uncle. It should have been you." Adrenaline.
Yeah,
but
it should have been you
different.
part, but yeah.
But yeah, the part of it where it was like, no, because he is amazing.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah.
Like it's you.
Well, I was thinking, because MJF should have taken an angle at some point. It was like, yeah, you claim to be this badass, but you haven't been winning since your brother died, and that's because he was the one that was a winner. You, sir, right? Are a loser.
Yeah.
And he went a little different route there, right? I love that. Like, no, I have great admiration for him. He's the greatest of all things. He's amazing. He's a mentor. I love this guy. Yeah, fucking you. I loved it.
Suck a dick there,
pal. So, the Continental Championship, the International Championship, as we've all said all along the thing, should be one thing. And they're going to do it. They named it dumb, the Unified Championship. I'm hoping we get a name change for this somewhere down the road when they have time to think about it. But, and maybe that was it. Maybe they're like, look, we don't want to rush a name, so we'll give one that everybody can understand is transitional and won't care when we change it. This one's a tough one for me, too. I could book either way. I am 85% Omega because it's Omega, right? And it's just who this company is, right? But, man, Okada winning that and wandering around and bitch and everything like that is prime stuff. But, man, he's had a belt on his shoulder for a long time, right? So I'm going with Omega.
Yeah, it was this. I think it was the second match when he beat Eddie for this title, and then he just kept it. I also think that's why the EVPs will stay the EVPs, because you can't, in my mind, have the EVPs lose that title. Now they're just the Young Bucks, and then you have Okada just lose his championship, and now what do they do? Now who are they? Because if the EVPs keep their title as EVPs, they'd be like, "Hey, Okada, you know what? We're gonna." And also, hold on, one other thought I just had.
Yeah.
Say the EVPs keep their power, right? They beat Strickland and Ospreay. They keep their power. If you recall, this whole partnership between the Young Bucks and the Don Callis family was to keep the gold on Okada. Well, if Okada loses that title, now we've got the Don Callis and the EVPs kind of going at each other.
So flip this. Young Bucks lose. They don't have their power anymore. They're woe is me, right? Crying in their, whatever's non-alcoholic, I'm sure. And they're like, "Oh my God, we lost the limo. we lost the EVPs, we lost the respect of our friends and family, and then be like Okada come in, they'll be like, I guess we haven't lost everything if we've still got friends, right? And they go to shake his hand, and he, bitch, right, and just walks off laughing with his championship
with the Don Callis family. Yeah, walks off with the Don Callis family.
He's got his title, and they're all high fiving, and then they're like, ooh. You could
that would be funny.
Could go that way.
Going back to the casino, because I got a million thoughts, because this is fun. Honestly, this is like one of the more like up in the air.
I agree. This is the
pay-per-views?
most. We were just talking. I was like, should we change up the format of this? Because we never pick anywhere wildly different enough. But this one, we sure are. Yeah.
Because the other guy who could win the men's gauntlet match, I just thought of, because we're talking about the EVPs, the scapegoat, Jack Perry. You get the scapegoat, Jack Perry. EVPs
he's going after
power.
Hangman.
And
he's another one who could be like, you don't get a redemption arc. We are who we are. Hangman, right? Like, we are evil inside. We are bad people, right? They're like, no, I'm not, right? Like, yes, you are.
Yeah, that would be okay. But anyhow, back to this match. I'm going Kenny Omega, because you know who I think challenges Kenny Omega right after this? I just said his name, Jack Perry. I think Jack Perry. You know what I mean? I think he's like, fuck you, bitch. Like,
so
we
you
got
could
another
get
one coming
both
for
these
you.
names. We could get Jay White and Jack Perry in this match, and neither of them wins or one of them wins, right? Like, they can both show up and still get the return here for sure. And then he could be like, well, I didn't get that. Now I'm going after you, right? Like, you're fucking time.
Well, because if you remember, Jack Perry was the one that was really making fun of Kenny Omega when he was hurt.
And
did all that. So they got to pay that off somehow, right?
Well,
so
what's that? What? That's cooked up in the
birthday
room.
cake.
Then we'll get these pig intestines and we'll put it on the cake. They're like, sick. And they're like, oh, that actually looked weird. Yeah. All right. We have 2 world title matches left. We have the Women's World Championship. Timeless Toni Storm defends against, 6 belts, Monet? Is that what I'm counting here?
Sure.
Jesus. Man. This is another one, right? This feels like a Mega Powers Explodes moment, right? Where, Hogan Warrior, right? Where it's like,
it ain't no fucking way. It's Tony goddamn Storm.
It is. I wrote down Toni Storm, but I just, man, who this other one is, right? You know the name, and Did you see, though, also that Tony Khan spent some time saying, I'm the only one with creative control, right? He heard the show. He was saying that directly to us.
Uh-huh. Yep. Well, and on top of that, here's my thought on, honestly, why I picked Toni Storm. Say Mercedes wins the women's championship. Are we, going to have her just say, I relinquish the TBS championship? Is she just going to be like, LOL, that belt's gone? Or is she going to defend both? So the TBS championship will look like a piece of shit. She going to make them the
Women's Unified Championship?
Yeah. But like, she will make the championship look like shit if she just goes, I don't want that one anymore.
Well, and like, haven't we done enough if we've said she's got 6 belts from around the world? Does she, like, aren't we told the story then? Like, we're just going to say she's better than every single wrestler, period, bar none. Nobody can challenge her. Whereas the fact where everybody would say is the GOAT right now of wrestling even couldn't beat this woman. Yeah, no, I think it's Toni Storm. And that's kind of why I went with the Julia Hart wins the thing, because I think we'll get like spooky challenge, right? Like darkness, and then her and Luther are suddenly Scooby-Dooing it, right? And shit like that.
I mean, yeah, doing the Carmen Sandiego, then go right into Scooby-Doo. That'd be a great idea.
Yep.
I just went Britt Baker because they keep talking about her and she's versatile. So whatever it is, right? Say I'm wrong. She could easily be the whatever for Mercedes.
Backtracking through Dynamite, so we got, a vignette for Omega Okada. We didn't really get any sort of like showdown between them, right? Am I forgetting anything? Right?
No. Yeah, it was just, yeah. It was just that.
Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné, they had a fun little. This was one of the best promos I've seen Mercedes Moné give in AEW. For one, it felt a little more real, right? Way more conversational and true to the character, right? It was like, bitch, just because I'm fucking better than you, right? She was like, I fucking whatever. And then Toni Storm's line of like, you fear, what'd she say? Like, oh, if you fear an ordinary life, but I fear nothing but an ordinary death. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, she's the best. One thing I agree with you on the Mercedes. Yes, she was a little bit, but you gotta fucking stop with that accent. She was like trying this British accent. What
Yeah.
stop? Beast
Yeah.
Mordos needs to tell you to roar more often and not do these fucking accents. Like, that's what it needs to be. I hope the Beast Mordos is in the fucking thing.
Tony Hayes in the chat, who I think is
Mm-hmm.
new, says Wardlow and Britt are in Cantonino Bay. I didn't know that.
Is
I
that
didn't know that.
like, well, is that saying like Tony Khan, Contominio, like, are they in prison, like Tony Khan prison? You get what I'm saying? Because Khan.
Yeah.
Is that what he's
Oh,
saying?
instead of Guantanamo Bay, it's Guantanamo Bay. I got it.
Yeah. The
See?
prison thing.
See? I'm a smart guy over
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
Well,
good.
Wardlow.
I mean, Wardlow is good, at least. I don't know.
Well, no, but like Wardlow, I heard is doing a TV show. So like,
Yeah, right,
that's
true.
why I
Yeah,
think, yeah.
Isn't he also in the American Gladiators or something? Aren't they doing
That's what I'm saying. He's doing that TV show. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
doing that TV show. So I think
Yeah.
I think this is smoke and mirrors.
You think
with
that's
her.
all
I
it
think
work,
it's-
huh? You think that's all
I
it work?
think it's or it was hey, let's get this shit done because now
Let's lean
too many
into
people are talking. Yeah, too many people are talking. So
Or it was like, hey, this was contentious, but let's lean into it. Let's make everybody think it's still contentious now that we got the deal done. Show
MJF
up.
style. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
God, we were there at that. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Fuck you, CM Punk. The loudest fucking person or the loudest pop for anyone that night was not you, brother. It was MJF, followed by Oh Scissor Me Daddy, and everyone realizing how fucking awesome of a chant that was, and us patting ourselves on the back. Those were the two loudest chants. You weren't even in the top 5, brother. You were not there.
Texas
Remember
Death.
Hold on. You remember that insane clown posse guy that was just like, fuck you, CM Punk, you fucking piece of shit. Like, I don't like CM Punk, but that motherfucker hated him.
That guy hated him. Yeah, he was dressed
Hated
up like
him.
Shaggy from
Yeah. You
For-
motherfucker.
the exact face mask, because I thought it was him at first. I was like, oh, holy shit. Because we had 4 seats because we're ballers. And I was like,
Well,
oh shit, are we
and
down here with Shags?
And Action Bronson walked right behind us. Remember
Yep.
that in the pre-show?
Yep.
Look at, oh yeah.
I know,
Yeah.
for a second I was like, hot damn, too dope. What's up? All right. Texas Death. Like, remember that time you tried to drop kick Fred Durst? Texas Texas Death Match. The AEW World Championship is changing hands when Hangman Adam Page defeats Jon Moxley this Saturday, July 12th.
Starting at 2 p.m. pay-per-view, or maybe it's a pre-show, but still starting earlier than
At
what
2 p.m.
expected.
Mahomes time.
Yeah. The one true time zone.
Arrowhead time.
Here's the interesting question. Okay, so here's the interesting question. Let's talk about this because this was probably the most interesting thing from the entire week. Tonight, we got on Collision a segment that happened after Dynamite where Renee was like, we're going to talk to somebody. Hangman, will you give me a word? And he said, I'm not going to. Now,
Yeah, well, he just said, like, I do need to talk about it. Because she said, you should talk about it.
yeah.
He's like, I should talk about it.
Not to you. Now that goes twofold. I think one, it was because I should talk to Swerve, but then it's also if it was Alex Marvez,
talking to you.
maybe I say something, but like not
Yeah.
you, bitch. You're married
Sleeping
to
with the
to
enemy,
op.
literally.
Yeah, you're married to the. Oh, we gotta pick that. We got the ops match too. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah. What else was
Let's
that?
get
It
to
was
that
Ops
first.
versus, yeah.
Yeah, it's the ops versus the Death Riders of Gabe Kidd. We fucking hate him. What's his name? I hate his ass. You suck.
Yuta.
I can see him. Yuta. Yeah,
Yuta.
Yuta. And then Claudio. Yeah, those 3. I think the ops win that, right?
Favorite moment in wrestling history. Yuta sucked. My favorite part of that moment was when you said it to Kyle Fletcher and he's like, yeah, that's fair. I don't like that guy. And I was like, I think we're speaking to real Kyle here. I don't think,
Yeah.
I don't think this
that's
is
a
character
gimmick.
Kyle.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, you got the
okay,
ops?
So, yeah, the ops, right?
Yeah.
The
I think
Death
the ops
Riders
win,
aren't.
too.
They're losing big tonight. They're not going to come away with Gabe Kidd and 2 of their guys.
Right. Yeah.
That's for the trios title, right? Yeah, that's not happening.
Correct.
Ops are
Yeah.
winning.
There you go.
So yeah, all right. So that segment, Hangman then busts in. Swerve's like, "Get the fuck out of here." Will Ospreay, who's had 7 haircuts in 2 weeks, is like trying to separate them, and he's like, I like that when he's like, "Give me 2 minutes." Ospreay even like snickered at it. He's like, no. Like, what, are you crazy? And then Swerve's like,
Yeah.
"Nah, man, do it." I even like that Nana was like, "Hey, I'm gonna fucking get some coffee.
I gotta
I'm
get
outta
coffee.
here."
Yeah, I gotta get coffee. Okay, there's a lot to talk about here that I want your opinion on because my brain went into maybe over booking mode. First thing I wanted to ask you about. So as you mentioned, Osprey, they ask to leave, and he's like, "No," and then they both are like, "Just do it." And he's like, "Fine." Now, Hangman makes it a point to say, "Hey, Osprey, thanks for everything." Right? Now,
Yeah.
is Osprey doing secret time? And is he like, if John Moxley wins, is it because Will Ospreay said, "You bitch, you thought I was your friend this entire time"?
So, no, here's how I would think it happens. All right. So, through the rest of that, they have a serious conversation. And I don't want to do too much injustice to the back and forth, right? On exactly
Oh
what
my
they
God, it
said,
was great.
right?
Yeah.
But because he said, "Oh, I get what you're here for, right? You're here to ask me for help. Go ahead and ask me." He's like, "No, I'm not here to do that. I am here to say," right? Like, I liked it. Like, neither of them apologized, right? They both admitted to regretting their actions now, right? The Swerve at the end there adding the extra part about like, you know what I mean? Like, I was going to raise my fucking family there, right? That one threw me for a little bit of a loop, right? Like, that felt like it should have been part of the middle part. But, if anything, it looked like they were like, all right, we'll agree to not hate and kill each other anymore, right? We're really to let that be in the past, right? But that's it. Then I like where Hangman was like, "Hey, I'm bringing my family," right? Which John Moxley shit on later, but but he was like,
Well,
not to the show, but
yeah,
earlier,
no,
right? Yeah. And he said,
So,
"All right, I'll
okay.
stay away from him," right? You think
He's
he's
not
not going to stay away from him?
So this is what I was thinking.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so this is what I was thinking. That comment, I think, means, and again, I don't know shit about fuck, but I think that comment means the Death Riders of Marina, Claudio, Yuta, even Gabe Kidd are going to be like, "Oh, Hangman, you have the upper hand on Moxley? Wouldn't it suck if your fucking family who did end up showing up got fucking hurt?" Or because he mentioned that they're not going to actually be there, what if Marina and Yuta, after their match, all that stuff, the Death Riders find the family, they put it up on the big screen and say, "Hey, motherfucker, we found your wife and kids." And then before they can knock in, it's Swerve, and Swerve is like, "Fuck you. You're not touching him. I fucked this kid's brain up for life. I owe him at least this."
So to protect them.
He protects the family, but he's not helping Hangman. Fuck you, Hangman. I'm still not helping you, but I do regret fucking with your kid's brain.
So at the
and
end
I'm
of
going to
that,
help them.
So at the end of that, Hangman left the chain.
Yeah, that's the other
picks
thing.
the chain up, right? And so that's where I can see he loses this match earlier to the Young Bucks. He now can't win a title. He takes that chain, he fucks up Hangman, and it's, "If I can't have it, you can't either. No, we're never done," right? Like, we're never done, right? Like, and just chain hangs him, right? In Texas death. Now, he could use that chain to help save Hangman's family from the Death Riders, right? He could use that chain for that, right? Could chain up
This is so much fun.
Yuta or something.
This is so much fun.
But I could see him sabotaging Hangman, and we will now thunderously hate Swerve for a while.
And if you recall, the callback is last year when Swerve had Bryan Danielson dead to rights, who jumps through the crowd to fucking cause a distraction. Hangman, right? And so do we just say, "Oh, you thought I forgot about that? You never apologized for that one." right? Like that's the one,
Yeah.
sin that you still have to pay for. You could
I
do
will
that.
not be shocked if Moxley still is the champion after this is said and done. But I'm right. I mean, Hangman's my pick. Like Hangman's winning this.
Hangman's the pick. The only thing that I could see, and this is just me being my 2 cents. I don't know anything about anything. The only way I feel that Moxley can win is that if on Dynamite, the next Dynamite, he loses it to, and again, I think Darby Allin. That's the only way he can leave All In as champ.
Yeah,
Is
I
and
agree
they
with you.
because they can't get to another pay-per-view. Like the pay-per-view, that'd take too long. Right there, the next
Yeah.
Wednesday, open challenge. Who wants it? Darby Allin returns. Fuck you, and then let's get it on. You know what I mean?
Tony Hayes in the chat says, "Are you from KC? Have you heard of Wilbert Harrison?" And yeah, I mean, the Jazz Museum downtown has got all the names, including Mr. Harrison. But yeah, this is a fun fact. We are broadcasting, both of us, from Kansas City, but we're not in the same city. We're not even in the same state.
Nope. You're
That's how we do it around here.
Kansas, and
Yeah.
I am in Missouri. Missouri, baby.
All right, so man, Hangman is
So,
winning.
wait, hold on. Yeah, but hold on. I wanted your opinion because you didn't. I don't feel like you answered. Does Will Ospreay? That was such a weird thing for Hangman
It was.
to just like, hey man. Now again, it could just be I'm acknowledging you helped me get to this point to talk to Swerve, but I felt like, and especially the way Ospreay left with like a he, right? He didn't leave. Hey guys,
Here we do everything you said. Swerve's protecting Hangman's family. We get back to the action. Like, all right, now Hangman's gonna get the upper hand. Moxie's plan is foiled until Will Ospreay comes out and he fucking just Kansas City punt. Swerve didn't even know. Like, what the fuck?
yeah, and that's where it is because, and maybe I'm just being a whatever here, but like Ospreay's awesome, right? I've changed my tune. I think he's fun. I think he can cut a good promo. That won me over. But honestly, what the fuck is he doing? Right? We're just doing
He's getting haircuts.
hodgepodge tag teams. But we're like, yeah, he's getting haircuts and just throwing in tag matches apparently.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's better than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a upper. So like out of this, because even if they win, right? Let's just say the EVP title goes away. What next for Ospreay and Swerve?
Yeah, that I don't know. I wouldn't hate the idea of them having the thing, right? They'll be like, oh, we're going to turn it over to Tony Khan, right? And then have one of them be like, hear me out. What if we don't for a while? What if we like set some things straight, right? That have been wrong for a while, right? And then we turn it over. This is what I say, like maybe you have Will Ospreay do that, right? And Swerve would be like, all right, man, I'm down. If you're down, cool. You want to flex the power, do it. But then Will starts doing some things that are questionable, right? Like I said, his wife's coming in. Maybe it's like, oh, well, I'm booking her a title match. And they'll be like,
Yeah.
what? Right? And be like, yeah, she's one of the best from around, right? And they'll be like, brother.
Well,
right? Just things like that. And be like, well, of course, I get the first TNT title shot, right? And people be like, what? Right? Yeah.
and then Prince Nana could play into that too, where he's like, hey, boss, I was looking at some financials. Looks like you're not getting paid what you were. Why is that?
Yeah.
And he's like, what?
Will
He's like, yeah, something's wrong with
Yeah.
Well, something's wrong with the money. Now, if something's wrong with the money, something's wrong with between me and you. It could go that way too.
But what I don't want is I don't want these becoming titles that can be passed around. Kind of like I didn't want the Continental Classic. I don't want that to happen. Like we don't need a King of the Ring style situation here.
EVP stuff. Yeah. I think they stay with the guys, but it was just so interesting. And maybe again, my brain is just wrapped into stupid details that actually don't matter. But it was so not jarring, but just fascinating that Hangman right there, nose to nose with Swerve, would go, "Hey, Ospreay," and it's like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Also, though, with this, I mean, all of that stuff could happen and Hangman still wins, right? Osprey tries to be the fucking asshole and Hangman's like, I still won. Fuck you, loser, and you're never getting
So,
this.
so let's say, yeah, Young Bucks lose, Swerve and Osprey, and then we still go through all that, and Osprey, so he still can. That would put him in line for the first title shot if he's now a heel, right? He tried and failed to screw Hangman over,
Yep.
right? And now Hangman just calls him out, be like, "Bitch, what was that?" Right? And they'd be like, "Fuck you, man! You're riding around on your high horse and fucking, you know what I mean?"
Yeah.
And then they just go at it.
I mean, that would be fun.
Then
You
Swerve
do a
could come in
triple
and be
threat.
like, "Oh, if you're forgetting, I'm also an EVP," and then maybe we do a triple threat, right? Yeah.
Well, no, because then the Casino Battle Royal winner goes, well, fuck all you guys. I'm the person. And then we do a 4-way, Could do that fun.
So you could have Hangman, Swerve, Osprey, and MJF in a new Pillars match.
Mm-hmm. Or Osprey doesn't. Well, if Osprey tries to screw him over, it could be good. But you could get the greatest threat to Hangman's title reign as the first one because you got his kryptonite and Jay White, Swerve, who is his arch nemesis, and then the guy who just tried to fuck him over, who we thought was a friend, Osprey, and then it's him. Like, yeah, we got some fun. You got a motherfucking
Hire
Tony, but you better not fuck it up, brother.
Just call us once a week. Just have a conference call with us once a week, and then
Zoom in, join in on the Zoom.
Zoom in. Yeah, Tony. I know you're watching there. Look, Tony
Zoom it.
Hayes.
Yeah,
He knows
hey,
who's
Tony
in Tony's
Hayes.
prison, right?
Hey, Tony's yeah, cool.
Tony
nickname you
Not Con
gave for
Hayes.
yourself.
Right?
Yeah, cool little nickname you gave for. I've never heard that before. It's kind of like if you thought about your own name and then thought of a new nickname for it. Interesting.
We're on to you, Tony.
Yeah,
Not Con.
we're on. Yeah, and Taz. Who's remember Taz was in here?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that was Rewind '89, right? Whatever happened to that guy?
Yeah.
Taz.
Yeah.
He's too busy. He's on the
Taz.
road now. He's back out on the road.
Yeah, we heard you. We heard
Tony
from you,
Tony
Taz.
Khan, excuse me, has him in Guantanamo Bay, right?
Yep. Man, I tell you what, I'm very.
You know what he
excited
said to
for this.
that? Go suck on a cactus, you.
Yeah,
What is toilet
the
paper?
cactus, yeah, toilet.
All right, this is good stuff, man. I appreciate Tony Hayes for being in the chat, and Theo P and Kurt Jangle, and anybody else who can hear my voice and wants to join in on these fun conversations should do so each and every week. Is there anything else about this show that you want to get out, Tom, before we?
I'll tell you this. If you don't like it, you can suck on a cactus, you toilet baby.
Piss off then!